Hey folks, last month I made a video called Incoming, where it was talking about all the incoming Kickstarters and kind of going down my list of projects and kind of seeing where they're at. Now, I back kind of a wide, diverse set of different crowdfunded projects, and so there's some chance that maybe some of these things you're following too. If that's the case, I've got updates and I've got time codes down below if there was something specific you wanted to know about. So I'm going back down my list, and once again, if there's a game that you would like tracked, if you would like me to kind of keep up with the updates and track that as well, just leave a comment down below and I'll add it to the list. Some might have already noticed this box next to me. This is a Dice Fights game. I backed this right around the time I made the last video, and it's already here. It delivered super quick. This is the fastest Kickstarter turnaround I've ever had. And it's a really simple game with normal dice inside. There's some custom dice that they made themselves, and this box itself is a dice, sort of. But they turned that project around in just a matter of weeks. It was kind of amazing, and it's a lot of fun. I've taken it to a couple of, we had like a little small convention in town last week, and I took it there and played it, and folks just had a great time with it. I can't wait to even show more and more people. My only regret is that I didn't get 2 or 3 boxes so I could have bigger games, because it's pretty crazy. I think this month we'll skip right past the Gamer's Chest, that project out of the Ukraine. I don't plan on ever seeing it again. It's kind of interesting when they post an update, and when they do post an update, I'll bring it up. But they have not. So our first update is Volfurion. Now this is one for some reason I like to call Volfurion. I don't know why I do that. The Volfurion Guilds. Now this is a project in the Mysthea universe, and I backed it quite a while ago. I am going from my oldest crowdfunded projects to my newest. This one was on Kickstarter, and it is about to ship. Hopefully it'll be finishing production very soon. They've been sharing some pictures from the production floor. This is a card game. This is a dueling game. You can play with more players, of course, if you add more sets to this. This is in the Mysthea universe, the Mysthea Icion universe. I backed, and I have playthroughs of this on my channel for the original game, which is just Volfurion. Guilds adds some more modules, a big box. They take it from a box about this size to a box about this size. And some game mats and stuff. It's kind of an interesting big boxing of a rather small game. I think the big component that they added that was going to be really super helpful, but aside from more content and like an expanded gameplay, it's going to be these little tokens where you can sort of track your resources as you go along, which was kind of tricky. They do have a companion app to kind of go along with it too, but I don't. I'd much rather have a couple of wooden tokens instead of an app to try and open and deal with, and a phone falling asleep in the middle of a game and all that. But a really cool big box, and I can't wait to see it because I'm pretty excited for that one. All right, so next we have Robinson Crusoe, and that is a really interesting game. It's a survival game where you're kind of trapped on an island, and it's a reprint. It's one of those deluxe reprints. I did a lot of those last year. That seemed to really be attractive to me. Let's see if I have a date on this. They were anticipating April back in December. That, of course, is not going to happen. Ignacy got on, and he made a video that's sort of an apology video. Well, it's absolutely an apology video, but it was very heartfelt. Like, it felt very sincere. And, maybe we should give them a little bit of grace in regards to this update. Robinson Crusoe is a survival game. This is a deluxe version of the game. You can buy it now. You can buy it and play it now. I'm really anxious to play this one. I kind of wish, I'm hoping that maybe I'll meet someone that has this game already, and maybe I can learn the rules before it even arrives. That would be really helpful. I've gotten to do that with a couple of games, and we'll talk about one of them here in a minute. But yeah, Robinson Crusoe. Man, you're late, but I forgive you. Next up is Beast. Now, Beast is taking its time getting here, but it will be here tomorrow. Owen, the guy I make videos with all the time. He's got a channel called Organic Cardboard, and he's done a very thorough unboxing. If you'd like to check that out, I highly recommend it. Next, we have The Witcher. Now, The Witcher is a little bit more complicated. All right, so The Witcher is in transit. It is on the way. It is on ships. They did not leave the ship numbers, however, and I can't be certain. But at least one of the container ships for the U.S., so if you're a Yank like myself, one of the container ships is already on the way, and another one will depart in approximately 2 days. So on the 30th, the second container ship leaves, and those ships are on the way. The Witcher looks like a fantastic game. Sure hits all the notes of a game that I would like to play, so I'm really excited for that. I'm hoping that it's great. I've already read the rules. I'm ready to play. So when that thing arrives, I'll be doing unboxings, playthroughs, the works. Look forward to that. Next up, we have Lords of Ragnarok, and I don't think we got much, we didn't get much news on this one. It is still in production. Their last update is talking about the Awaken Realms event, which I definitely went to. What an exciting event. I mean, there's a lot of games coming out that I'd really like to get, but I haven't bought them yet, so they're not on the list. Hey folks, this is Pecktec and Toby from the future. I just got an email about Lords of Ragnarok with a little bit more of an update than I had the day before when I shot that video. It says that they are excited to announce the plastic production phase of our project has been completed successfully, and the paper components are currently being printed, and they're sharing some of the details of the manufacturing process and where they're at now. Looks like they're printing up a bunch of stuff. Got a lot of little plastic components and bins. Very, very exciting. This is another one that should be on boats pretty soon. Next up, we have Marvel Zombies. Now, Marvel Zombies has delivered Wave 1, but they're working on the Wave 2 things. I paid for the one-time shipping, which means I get all the stuff that comes out on Wave 2. So people already have this. They're playing it and having a good time. That's fine. I got plenty of games. I'm going to wait on that second wave because the shipping costs a lot. And speaking of shipping costs a lot, the latest update has Galactus. So they've got all the pieces of Galactus kind of just sitting here in the factory about to be assembled, and he looks glorious. That's a piece I really, really wanted bad. In fact, I had pre-sold myself before this even came out, and said, I'm going to get that Galactus. I'll do whatever, you know. I was not willing to pay anything, obviously, but I was pretty committed. I would probably have gone pretty far to get it. I love my Cuthlu. I've got the big Cuthlu over here. It sort of lords over my game room. People are always like, where would I do with it? You know, it fits perfect on top of one of those glass shelves that you get from IKEA that you put your miniatures in and stuff. It was perfect up there. So, yes, I was going to get another shelf and one of these and just have him kind of be like the pillar on the other side of the room or something like that. But I decided not to. I decided to be a little bit more responsible than that and only get the 2 box sets and a couple of extra things. Super responsible. When I got to the shipping part of this, I about fell over. It's kind of ridiculous. And I'm really glad I didn't get the big guy. But he does look neat. Especially like lots and lots of them all piled up like that. Anyway, next up we have Tang Garden. I have a video about Tang Garden on here. It's like questioning if it's the most beautiful board game made. Probably not the most beautiful board game ever made. But it's up there. Boy, it's a gorgeous game. And fun, too. I think it's a lot of fun. The new update for it adds more content, of course, and kind of improves on some other things that maybe they wanted to tweak a little bit. I'm really curious and excited to see that. Of course, they big boxed it also, so you can put all this stuff together. Something I love. I'm going to have to make a new kind of shelf that's just for big box games, I think. So they haven't done a lot of updates, but I did notice this quote in the comments. We are still waiting for information from our manufacturer, which looks like which looks like they just finished the molds production and game trays. All the rest is ready to go, and our translators are already working on the rules. They said that at 3-2 in the comments, and yeah, boy, I'm excited to see what happens with that. Next up, we have Sleeping Gods by Ryan Lockett. Boy, talk about somebody that's really got their act together. They got all that stuff kind of set up pre-December, and they've already got a pre-production copy, and they've been playing it through. That's awesome. There was a quote in a recent update. Mallory and I played a new campaign, and almost immediately, I can honestly say it was one of the best tabletop gaming experiences I've ever had. That's saying something. We're shooting for August delivery. Foreteller for Sleeping Gods is underway. Next up, we have Raw. That's another game that was brought out and redone, dressed up for a new version, and here it is today, ready to go. It is being delivered currently. I don't have my shipping notice, so I don't know when I'm going to get that, but I imagine that's going to be one of the next ones I get after Beast. Next up, we have Tiny Epic Vikings. Now, Tiny Epic Vikings, I actually picked up. That was delivered here just a few weeks ago. Owen got his a little bit early, and we did a playthrough on the channel, so go be sure to check that out. Next up, we have the Unmatched Storage solution, and they are still trying to engineer those boost cubes, or whatever they're called. Boost cubes, I believe is what they're called. This project has taken probably a little bit longer than I would have liked. I mean, who am I to shake my finger at them or anything? But you know, it doesn't seem like there was like a complicated rule set or something. I imagine that they'd have these things engineered before they began the project, so I'm a little curious as to what's taking so long putting this together. This thing that's basically a bunch of it looks like a bunch of floppy disk holders inside some printed boxes. What's up, man? Castles of Burgundy. I'm trying so hard to be patient with this one. I had such a good time playing this with the Quackalope crew, and I was really happy to get to try the prototype. And interesting side note, that's the game that Owen and I met. Owen had brought that to a game night, and I joined in as fast as I could because I knew I had this crowdfunding project that was going to arrive this year, and I wanted to get him to teach me how to play it. And that's sort of how we started making videos together. Next up, we have Skyrise. Now, Skyrise hasn't had a lot to say, but they are slowly making progress. There's a lot of different individual buildings. I believe this is 1 to 4 players, if I'm correct. And it's each player has a completely unique set of buildings, and they're really, really cool looking buildings. These little things, and they've been trying to perfect like the wash and other stuff. What they're saying now is that they have a small percentage of these approved. I think 25% of the buildings approved as far as the final designs and stuff before they go to the printers or manufacturers to get the molds made, or however it is they make these plastic things. So not a ton of progress, not as much as I'd like to see. I'd really like to see that thing being made so we could get it sometime this summer, but I guess we're going to be waiting a while. The estimated delivery for this was June 2023. There's no way. There's no way they'll make it by then. So next up we have Dungeons and Lasers, and that has been delivered. In fact, I've got an unboxing and with a painted miniature inside of it, which is kind of different for me. They've actually started a brand new campaign, a 5e, kind of a 5e supplement. They've created their own like monster manual and this whole world of creatures and probably scenarios and stuff. Dulcere, I believe is what it was called. Really a lot of miniatures for a pretty good price. So definitely check it out. Next up, we have the mystery dice. This is just some mysterious dice, and of course, because they're all kind of blind bag dice, you can't see what any of them are, and it's really, really frustrating. So he's doing some updates and saying stuff like, yeah, we're testing these out. Can't show you what they look like. So I guess we'll see. Next up, we have Burn Cycle, new recruits and series reprint. I did get the new Recruits expansion, and I won't belabor. I was just thinking I probably went over all of this last time, but yeah, I'm waiting on that new Recruits expansion. I haven't played it anymore. I wonder if that's a thing with expansions. Do you do that? Like, you know, some expansions are coming in, so you don't play it even though it's sitting right there next to you. I don't think I'm not super excited for this one. I like Burn Cycle a lot, but boy, it seemed like a lot of rules, and I had trouble kind of getting it to the table. I still have trouble getting it to the table just because it kind of takes a long time, and it's pretty heavy for what it is. Every now and then you get a game like that. Like sometimes I've got rules heavy games that really stick, like the rule set seems to work and it sticks. And I'm sure if I set up Burn Cycle and I got it in front of me and started playing, especially with if I had even one other person that had played it once before, like if I brought Holly back to play it again, it would start coming back to me and stuff. But boy, that's one that there's a lot of pressure on the, if you're the one that knows the rules playing that game, boy, there's a lot of pressure to learn it really well, because you need to. There's a lot to know. All right, so taking a look at their latest update, they're real super proud that they've made a player aid to include with new versions of this, or you can download it. I'm not sure. My assumption is that these will come like printed versions of these on their little paper that they do. My assumption is that these will arrive with the updates and the new packs and everything like that. They said that they're going to include it with every new version of the game. They do have the PDF right here in the update, so you can download it and start using it now. And I have. I've got my little printout ready, and I'll see if that helps. Looking at it, it looks really useful. And it just kind of goes to show like how many little, there's a lot of little nitpicky rules. It's not that there's any like big heavy rules, but there's just a lot of little rules to keep up with. So a player aid, something to kind of take some of that weight off, I think would be very useful. Thank you. Next up we have Ape Quest, and they ran into a little bit of trouble right at the end. Luckily he caught the problem before it was sent out, and he was able to correct it. What he said was, "I'm taking the time to fix it," which basically means telling Gameland to print 6 cards per box and pack them again. Not an easy thing to do. I'm really looking forward to this particular one. I did an interview with Professor Elemental a long time ago on my other channel, and filmed his concert. He's a chap hop star, or he's a rapper, a British rapper, raps about tea and his airship and time travel, and I'm super excited to see this. Paul's a really neat guy. His concerts are a lot of fun, and Professor Elemental lives on in the game. Finally, another way to kind of hang out with Paul and his crazy monkey butler. Next up we have Harrow County, and not much to say yet. That one's a fairly recent one that's closed. They are still, you're still able to late pledge that one. So if you missed Harrow County, it's got an interesting mechanisms. It's got this box that you throw dice into. And this one just kind of looked like a game I would like, and I backed it. With not a lot of research, I can't brag about my being very thorough on this one. It looked like something I'd enjoy, and I picked it up. So I guess we'll see. Next up, we have Escape from New York. They've been play testing this thing, and I guess they've got their bridge expansion. This is the big update, as they've play tested their bridge expansion. So good on you for play testing all your components and getting them going. Kind of looking forward to that one. I really hope, I love that one, and that it's kind of a surprise. That's one I backed, and I was like, I don't know. I really wanted the miniatures though. I'll be honest, I kind of backed that one for the miniatures. It was just cheap enough to kind of get on with that, but I have no reason to believe that the game won't be nice too. So hopefully the game is really cool, and I kind of get 2 wins there. Next up we have Cuthlu Death May Die, and they have not given a lot of updates. Well, they did one really cool update recently. They did, they're showing off their resin miniatures. So these are the resin prototypes for the new miniatures that are going to come with the game, and they look just as creepy as you can imagine. Really, really neat looking sculptures here. I love the way this is kind of coming out right there. Yeah. Wow. Don't really know what's going on with a lot of this stuff, but it looks really cool. It's a big insect looking thing. I like how they have the person there for scale so we can see. Oh, that kind of looks like a rhino and an abominable snowman. And something with 6 arms. 4 arms, that is. Is it 4 or 6? Oh yeah, that's not an arm. Okay. 4 arms. Some Apollo looking guy. Oh, these are cool. These are real cool. Looks like they got just about everything on here. So they had all kinds of little crazy little critters and stuff in this one. Yeah, and that's about it. Yeah, lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool stuff coming from them. Next up, we have the Mysthea and Icion Solo expansions. This is another one from Taboola. Not much to report on this other than the you can still pledge. So if you missed this one before and you'd like it to back it, you can still get in on that. Next up, we have Roulet Dice. Now this is another in a long series of dice-related items that have come through. And I've backed, not a lot of them, but I've backed a few. This one looked really, really cool. And in their latest update, they're showing off the PC parts, the pieces and components of it. And I believe down here they kind of, yeah, they showed them kind of making it, where they kind of give it that wash to kind of make it look real nice. And boy, do they look cool. I don't even remember which color I picked out. Hopefully it was like this, because I really like the look of that one. Very steampunky looking little dice. It'll be interesting to play with that. Next up we have Pest. And Pest is showing off some pre-production artwork. You're getting a little bit of a look at the board there. It's interesting, this board, kind of right off the bat, it sort of reminds me of Beast a little bit, with the little city nodules and stuff all over the place. It looks neat. Look forward to seeing this. Another little teaser of the art. I like Plague Doctors. I like the look of it. I like the whole look of Plague Doctors and stuff. I'm sure this is like an alternate universe. It's not our plague. It's some other plague. And they were actually able to bring, gather people up and then bring them back to help them and kind of put them employed somehow. This is another one where I looked at the cover and I instantly wanted it. And then I kind of went through and looked at to see what kind of game it sort of was. It had an interesting mixture of components. I can't go in depth on that right now because I'm in that phase where I'm like, oh, I really like it, and I convinced myself to buy it, and then I try to forget about it, except for making updates like this. But I don't think about it a whole lot. I don't do a whole lot of research until it's about ready to ship. When that thing hits the boats, if I can, I'm reading the rule book. I like to read the rule books as soon as they hit the boats. I'll read them 2 or 3 times. And it's surprising how much I don't remember, even though I've read the rule books a couple of times. But I try to read the rule books as soon as they hit the boats. So I'm ready to go when it hits my hot little hands a month later. And I'll remember nothing about what I read at that point. Next up, we have the Deep Shelf. Now, the Deep Shelf is a fairly recent one. I believe that was one of the newer ones I backed when I did the last video. They somehow say that they'll be able to ship by December of this year. And in the comments, I kind of was like, how do you think you'll be able to do that? And he had an answer. I don't remember what it was now. But they seem to have a quick answer for that. That they're ready to go. They're ready to do it. And they have not opened the Pledge Manager yet. So they're trying to get that set up. In fact, I thought it was supposed to be open already, but it's not. I thought it was supposed to open this week, so they must be just like right on the verge of getting that going. The next thing I backed is Dice Fights. I already talked about that. It's already here. It's amazing. Next up, we have Townsfolk Tussle. I am a backing that one. I have a painted review where I've painted all of those Townsfolk Tussle characters. I've painted them up, and I showed them to you along with some commentary on it. My biggest beef with that game is that it was just too long, and Holly and I never got hardly. I think we did eventually get to play one all the way through, but most of our sessions of that we had to break into two parts just because it was so long. And my big recommendation with that game is just play 3 bosses. Now, I believe that they've mitigated that. I haven't, there's been a lot of other stuff going on just recently in my life, so I haven't paid super close attention other than to back it. So basically, they're coming out with 2 expansions, and if you back them both together, it's pretty expensive. It's a little more than I really wanted to pay. It's another $100 to go get everything, but I really had a good time painting all the characters. I had a good time playing it. Supposedly this is going to offer some like 3 boss, new rule set for 3 bosses, which I've made my own. I don't have a great reason to get this, but I think I'm going to back it anyway. Like, I kind of want it anyway. I want to have, this is a FOMO thing, I want to have all of it. And I'm going to get it, I'm going to paint it, and hopefully I'll fall in love with it. That one stayed on the shelf quite a bit just because it's a little bit to pull out and play, but I've got a lot more people in my life playing games with than I used to, so I'm hoping some of these games that kind of fell out with my family I can pick up and play again with friends and stuff soon. But both of my best gaming buddies have gotten Monster Hunter, so I don't know if they'll be wanting to play this one anytime soon, but we'll see. Next up on the new list we have Unmatched Adventures. Unmatched Adventures is one that I like. Unmatched. Now I know I just kind of went off on their little box solution or whatever, but I really like Unmatched. And this is a cooperative version with Nikola Tesla. As a steampunk person, I'm obligated to get something with Nikola Tesla in it, especially if it's in one of my favorite games. I did not even think about it. I just immediately backed this one. It's really interchangeable. If you like Unmatched, you already know what it is. Yep, I backed that. Can't wait. Next up, we have DEI. Now, this is one of my favorite area control games ever created, and I am so excited to get a little bit more for it. So they're going to release 2 more factions along with a reprint of everything that they've done before. It's called the Faith and Anarchy, so it's got some religious sect, but also some rebels that are out there trying to tear things up. But they've also got a reprint of all the stuff from before. Now, if you wanted to get the miniature version of this game, it was kind of difficult to find. You can buy, I guess they made a lot more of the meeple version, or maybe they just had more of those in stock. But they're going to, I think, regularly keep the meeple version around, which would kind of be interesting. The one thing that's kind of missing from this campaign that I kind of was wondering about is I almost wish they have a way for you to buy the miniatures if you didn't get them in the first time, but they don't have a way to get the meeples if you didn't get them the first time. And I like this game enough to where I'd almost like to get the meeples also. I don't know why. I'm crazy. I guess I'm thinking too, like if I ever wanted to film playthroughs of this, meeples might be a little bit easier to see and recognize what's going on than the miniatures, because they look really cool in person, but it's a little bit harder to tell what's happening, I think, when you watch it on screen. So yeah, I'm excited for this expansion. There'll be a little bit more content. These 2 new factions look really groovy. They got a new drone that looks like a crane, and a drill and something else or another. You got the old religious man with the bullhorn yelling things to people. And this new cathedral building. So, yep, that's happening right now. And folks, that's about all I have for this month. I'll be back next month with another video. I'd really love to include more and more items. I'd like to know what you're interested in. Is there a big project that I should be following that you would really like it if I followed? Leave a comment down below and let me know, and possibly I'll include it on with all these things that I'm keeping track of right now. I'll be back soon. Enjoy your games and shop well. Bye-bye.